My name's GuyKesTV, and for nearly 25 years I've been a professional bike tester. And today I've been riding the Specialized, let me get this right, Specialized Turbo Levo SL Carbon Expert at Coed y Brenin, Forest Park, the original UK trail centre, and still one of the best, if not the best, on a demo bike from Coed y Brenin. And I've been riding it with Joe from Coed y Brenin, who's been on the standard Levo. And this is the tech talk around on this bike to go with the live ride review. So make sure you watch the live ride review, but for something that might be a bit easier to listen to and to go through the static details when you can see them, here's the tech talk round. So what are we talking about here? I mean, same mainframe as the standard Levo, as far as the top corner of it anyway. So 66-degree head angle, 455mm reach, and again, pretty short reach for a large frame, but it's actually 10mm longer than a stump jumper. 74.6-degree effective seat tube, and I think the bottom bracket height is about 348. I might have to check that. 348 with a 32mm drop is in my head, or maybe a 28mm drop. I'll edit that properly later. But the big difference is the bottom compared to the Levo over there, Joe's Levo that he was riding. You can see this battery and this bottom end area around the motor a lot neater, because that's a well, not neater but smaller. So that battery, that motor, the 1.1 SL, 30% smaller than the standard Levo motor. It's actually straight out of the Creo road bike, and that means they can make these chainstays super short for an e-bike at 437mm, which is the same length as the stump jumper. But one of the ways they've done that, they've actually decrease the maximum tyre size. So you can see it's got a 2.3 in there, and that's probably about what you're going to comfortably fit in there. Otherwise, super well proven FSR 4-bar linkage at the rear end with this Fu Manchu shock link. It's the same asymmetric frame design that they started using on the demo, and then on the stump jumper, and now on the Levo. It just looks really sleek, really interesting, and keeps the bike really stiff. The fact it's the battery is completely encased in this down tube, again, helps the structural stiffness, but it's really the weight saving from that battery, from the motor, and the fact it's only got a 326 watt-hour battery in there really is significant. I mean, sort of comparative models, they're about 3.5 kilos to 4 kilos lighter for the SL over the standard Levo, which is a big difference. I mean, some of that's been achieved by lightening the spec as well. So you're getting 2.3-inch eliminator and butcher tyres on there in a grid carcass. So it's the lightly reinforced carcass, front and rear, whereas on the Levo that gets a black diamond on the rear, so a much heavier duty rear tyre. You've got carbon rims, so that's a really nice touch, considering these bikes 250 quid more than the standard Levo. The fact you're getting carbon wheels makes up, is a pretty good, that's an impressive upgrade for not much extra money, although obviously you're getting a smaller battery, so that kind of plays out there. You're getting a 34 fork up front rather than a 36, but it's still, it's still the e-bike chassis, so it's the same chassis as the 34 Rhythm, so it's the stiffest of the 34s, definitely, although, it still gets a bit fluttery at 150mm, as you'll see in the live ride review. 200mm rotor on the front, 180 on the rear, again, slightly less power, a bit of a controversial one that, and also G2 brakes, not as powerful as Coeds. And weirdly, you get Coeds on a stump jumper, and obviously you get Coeds on the Levo as you'd expect, but you get Coeds on the stump jumper, but you don't get them on the Levo SL. But 40mm stem is about the right length, 780mm bar, really nice Specialized grips. You get the little there's nothing home, that should have a little Allen key set in there, but you get that standard. What else have I not talked about? Specialized saddles are always really great, and it's sat on an X-Fusion Manic seat post, super reliable. Well, it is just super reliable. It does exactly what you want, and it doesn't have the absolutely brutal return speed of the old Specialized dropper posts that used to possibly catch you really unawares. But you do get a Specialized remote, so a really nice underbar remote there. And while we're up here, that there is the only sign on the handlebars that you've actually run an e-bike. So you've got walk assist there, and plus and minus on the modes. So 3 modes, and then there's your power button there with your battery display. So you've got, as you can see, just that little 3 segment at the top, so that's turbo, and then trail, and then eco. Most of today been riding in eco, blipped its trail a couple of times on the final climbs, and then had a raz on turbo down R74. But still, 3 bars. I mean, looking on the app, that's 26% battery left after 57.7 kilometers, best part of 900 meters of really tough technical climbing. So that has really impressed me on this 326 watt hour battery, because I was expecting to use this extender pack, which fits in the bottle cage and just plugs in. I'll go around the other side to let you look where it plugs in, because this little hatch here is actually really neat. That's the battery connector there, so just slide the slide the extender in here, and then that just plugs in there. Just, a really neat way of getting battery capacity up to 500 watt hours. Now we're over this far side, you can see this motor system is just really neat, the way it's all packaged in there. The lines of the bike are really sleek, and obviously you see the asymmetric shock there. The Specialized Kinematic is pretty fluid, pretty neutral. I mean, that's great in terms of a really flowing, smooth, soft suspension ride. But if you're pushing hard to sort of berms and stuff on a sort of bike park terrain, or you want a bit more pedaling support, definitely run it in trail. And I'd say the same on the fork as well. But as this is the DPS version, you've got 3-position damping adjustment up there as well. So nicely fine-tune the shock if you want to, but it's a pretty forgiving kinematic anyway. And the fact that you've got some power behind you means that you can proper push on without worrying too much about pedal bob. And also, because it's such a fluid open system, you'll find that it really carries speed really well across junky, chunky stuff like we've been riding here today at Coed y Brenin. Any bike that carries speed well along things like pins and needles and some of the newer stuff on the Beast has got to be a pretty smooth suspension system, and Turbo Levo's definitely proved that today. Going back to the motor, in terms of power, you're getting 35 newton meters of torque compared to 90 on the Bros over there, or around 75 on a Bosch. So you are getting a lot less in terms of punch, even in turbo mode. But what's been interesting is how good it's felt in eco. I was expecting to not even notice. I thought it would barely wash its hands in eco, but it turns out that eco is very noticeable in terms of just a nice hint of tailwind as you cresting a rise or coming out of a corner. Just brings you back up to speed that little bit more easily. And trail, if you're cruising around in eco, most of the time trail feels like a definite boost. And if anything, turbo is probably the least dramatic, because it's okay, it's definitely more assist, but it's not a massive amount of assist. So again, I was surprised just how enjoyable this bike's been in eco for most of the day, and the battery life has been amazing. In terms of nice detailing, you've got this ridged rubberized chain quietener on there. Like I say, the clip for the battery cover is really neat. And just other aspects, like the fact that Specialized is just renowned for looking after customers really well, which is super important on something like an e-bike, where you are likely to have more issues. I mean, whatever system you're running, you've got a battery, you've got a motor, you've got wiring. There is potentially more problem to have. There are potentially more problems to have. So going with a brand that and a dealer network who are pretty legendary for sorting stuff out, as quicker than you would think humanly possible. I used to work for a Specialized dealer, so we used to be embarrassed by some of the warranty returns they gave back to us. We were like, but they've clearly ridden it into a skip, they don't deserve a new bike, and they'd still sort them out. And I once saw the kind of job application for Specialized warranty person, and oh my God, it was like the most comprehensive, gold-plated, gold standard kind of customer service document I've ever seen. So, it's not a cheap bike. $7.5 grand for this. That's $2.5 grand more than a stump jumper in the equivalent spec. 250 quid more than a Levo in Carbon Expert. But like I say, that gets alloy wheels, not carbon wheels. But the backup you're getting from Specialized is really, it's one of the best in the business, if not, the best, I have to say. And, certainly the guys at Bikes Brenin have definitely looked after me today, and they've got a fleet of Levo SL. They've got a fleet of Levos. They've got a couple of Levo SLs at the moment. So, I mean, watch the live ride review. The trails here are absolutely fantastic. Staff here are great. So if you are going to come and try a Levo, I can't think of anywhere better to come and give one a go, because we've just had an absolute blast today. I mean, in terms of what would I change, I mean, it's difficult because kind of like the compromises that they've made on the equipment are paid back in the fact that it is significantly lighter. So you kind of can't have a stiffer fork because it'll be heavier, and you can't have bigger, chunkier tyres. And to be fair, I mean, yes, there's a pool noodle in the back end of this bike to keep that rim safe because it's a rental bike. But I've ragged the standard bike really hard and not had an issue. Those carbon rims are pretty damn strong now. And the 34, although I have had some moments on it, you know, turning in hard or under hard braking, it's still really, really smooth. So you get significantly less arm pump. And a massive fan of even the most basic grip damper. It's just a properly smooth, really well-controlled fork. And again, tyres, bit plasticky, but they roll fast. So, you know, again, it's another reason why you're getting good battery life out of it. So, but I think the only thing I'd say, I wish it had a short offset fork rather than that 51. It would just settle the front end down just a little bit more in those moments when this does start to just get a little bit sketchy. But again, this is still the fastest bike I've taken down the Stainburn Red Descent, which I have done hundreds of times and didn't even know it was that quick when I was doing it. It's just really kind of casually, quietly quick and capable, but in a really fun and involving way. So, Turbo Levo SL Carbon Expert. You know, the whole idea of coming out here was to see how far we could go on that battery. I was expecting to have to put that extender on after just the Beast, but it romped around the Beast in just over 2 hours, with 60% battery left. So we kind of hit the Red Bull, the Turks trail, pretty hard. Trail on the climbs, turbo on the last section, and still came back with 26% battery after 57.7k. So, you know, this is a proper trail bike. Certainly doesn't seem to be compromised in range. And if you're the kind of person who cruises around in Tour and Eco on your current e-bike, or if you've tried an e-bike, rather than, I mean, it's not going to suit people who just want a monster uplift bike. Go for the Kenevo if you want that, and if you do want 700 watt of range, go for the Levo. But I think, you know, in the same way that a lot of people are kind of overbiked with enduro bikes, there are a lot of people who are overbiked with battery and motor on e-bikes, and this is a really significant bike in terms of, you know, they've been brave and gone, yeah, I don't think you need a lot of battery because we've got the other options. I don't think you need a lot of power. And I was really skeptical at first when I saw the numbers. I was like, who's going to buy that? But if I had to pick any e-bike out of the Specialized lineup, it'd be this one. Yeah, it would. It's definitely, you know, in terms of e-bikes, this is definitely a bit of me as this bike. And so, yeah, properly had an absolute blast around Coed y Brenin today. Been great getting back here for the first time since I rode a BKXC. Great riding with Joe, who I've known since the 90s. And great getting back on trails that I first rode back in 97 when Daffy Davis had just finished making them. So, please make sure you watch the live rider video. I haven't looked at it on the camera yet, but I think it's going to look pretty. It's going to look really pretty, and Joe's a great rider to watch, and the trails are just fantastic. So watch the live ride review. There's actually some other footage on the on the Levo SL on Patreon and on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see that, you need to subscribe to my Patreon channel. But it's a measly cost per month, and it means I can make a bunch more of these videos, and you get a bunch more sort of extended edits and background stuff. So massive thanks to Joe and the guys at Coed y Brenin for sorting out the bikes. Like I say, they've got a full range of Levos that you can hire yourself, as well as conventional bikes. Thanks to Specialized for sponsoring this edit. Thanks to them for supplying kit, Camelback for the bum bag and the GoPro protector. Thanks to Crud for the fender, for keeping the lens clean, and Lurie for the frame strap for my essential enduro kit. I have had an absolute blast here. Hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I have. That's been the Tech Talk round. Make sure you watch the live ride review as well, and get yourself here to try a Levo SL or a Levo or whatever bike you want from Joe's range. the original trail centre in the UK is still definitively one of the best. Unique, proper, kind of reflective of its environment, proper hardcore mountain single track. Bloody loved it. Thanks for watching. I've been GuyKesTV. This has been GuyKesTV on Specialized Turbo Levo SL Carbon Expert.